down a little bit so that it's more on, not too far down, a little bit. Oh no, that's fine.
You sure?
So that, yeah, because it was like,
A bit.
no, it was just a bit like this. So that's fine.
Is that better?
Yeah, we've got a few attendees on already, Dad, so just letting you know.
Cool.
We're just waiting for Obed to join us, Dad, so then we can begin today's
I'm streaming on the Facebook Live, guys.
Okay.
Sorry for those that joined us a little bit early. We're just setting up.
You want to put the slides up, just the beginning one? I'm sure people don't want to see our ugly faces. Or beautiful.
Who are you talking to?
You. Put the thing up. The PowerPoint.
Oh, sorry.
Otherwise everyone's going to be watching.
You've done this before, Em, right?
I'm just making Becky, can you check that we're streaming on Facebook?
It does say live on Facebook on the corner, but I'll just double check.
Great.
Yes, we are live.
Okay, great. Let's share this then. Let's get ready. Bam.
What we might have to do is just start, and then hopefully if Obed joins.
Here's Obed. He's silent for now. Okay, brilliant. Are we ready? It's 12 o'clock.
Good afternoon, Obed.
Hello, Obed.
How are you?
Good,
Thank you. Good, thank you. Right, we're streaming on live, so we're going to start because it's gone 12 o'clock. Yes, how amazing. Our last two Facebook Lives, webinars that we've done has reached a lot of people. I think the last one went to over 800 views. Now we're enrolling into company. So we're really excited and thankful that people are joining, and hopefully you're getting some tips from us. Today we're going to talk about loneliness. We've got Obed, who's a student, that we're going to give him a little Q&A at the end. And yeah, just a little bit about the charity. I'm sure you all know, but just a little bit of background. My little sister, well, our little sister and daughter, sadly took her own life in 2012. So we set up a charity where we scream, shout, and we campaign about mental health, the signs and the symptoms. And we provide a 360-degree service, from free counselling to suicide bereavement. Anything you need to know is all on our website. So take a look at that. So yeah, we're going to talk about loneliness, and we're going to throw you over to Becky.
Okay, good afternoon.
My computer will go.
There you go. So today, yeah, we're going to be touching upon loneliness. We all know at the moment during this pandemic that a lot of us are probably feeling a little bit lonely. With the isolation period, it is going to make a lot of us feel a little bit isolated and lonely, being at home and not being able to see our friends and family as much as what we maybe used to. So I've got a little quote here that just summarises what loneliness means to us. It is an unpleasant emotional response to perceived isolation. It is a psychological mechanism which motivates individuals to seek social connections and interaction. Loneliness can cause people to feel empty, alone, and unwanted. People who are actually lonely often crave that human contact, but because of their state of mind, it makes it very difficult for them to be able to form connections with other people. Now, feeling lonely in itself isn't a mental health problem, but the two of them are strongly linked. If you were feeling lonely for a longer period of time, then this could lead to mental health problems. For example, depression, anxiety, low self-esteem, and so forth. However, if you're having short periods of loneliness, or you're just feeling alone, because there's some evenings where people might be out, or you might just be by yourself and you're feeling alone, that's okay. That's just you maybe just having an episode of feeling alone. So if it's a short period, that's okay. It's when it's prolonged and it goes on for a long period of time that we then potentially could be moving into chronic loneliness. So we're actually going to move on to the signs and symptoms of what loneliness may look like. So Stuart, we're going to move over, or Dad, we're going to move over to you to talk about the signs and symptoms of loneliness.
Yeah, cheers, Bex. So we've got 5 headers there. When we started to have this chat about what we're going to do this week and loneliness come up, I sort of looked at it and I struggled, to be honest. I really did struggle because I put all 5 pretty much in one. And it was only when we started narrowing down and sort of digging a little bit deeper into, what loneliness really means for some people, then we sort of, it opened up a whole new level for me, to be fair. Mm-hmm. But just picking on the five points, they all do sort of amalgamate into one, if that makes sense. So not being able to connecting with others on a deeper level, not having that special friend that you can confide in. We sort of looked at that, and I looked at it, and I thought, well, what does that really mean? So does it mean that when your upbringing in, your mum and dad, did they not connect with you in such a way that you feel as an adult that you can't connect?
Yeah, I agree, Dad. I think it's all about the connections, and for some of us it's so easy to build those connections and be able to find somebody new and be like, oh, okay, I can build this connection really easy. But then for some of us, find it very hard to make those connections. And I think for some of us that it may make you feel a bit lonely that you can't make those real connections.
Mm. And I think we touched on it, or you guys did last week as well, finding that special person that you connect with. Do you start feeling, I'm starting using this person too much? Am I embarrassed to be talk to that person? That sort of thing as well. So moving on to 2, feeling uncomfortable in social settings. Totally get this. Having lots of people around, but you still feel alone in a big crowd. So that's something that I struggled with quite a lot in my own way. When I used to drink a lot, used to cover all them little cracks up very well, and I was the loudest and brashest person in the crowd. But take away the alcohol and you get where you are. You get a person that is,
very lonely.
Very lonely. Yeah. So that, again, as Becky pointed out, all these points, individually may not mean that you're sort of depressed, but you start putting 2, 3, or 4 of these together, and you can start seeing that we might start feeling depressed or have some sort of mental health issues. So negative feelings, great with this one as well. Lack of self-esteem, self-doubt, and self-worth. Talking to Jenny last night about this, and I was like, I'm all right really on that. And she was like, put yourself back yesterday on the computer and not knowing what to do with the computer and feeling that self-worth. And I'm quite easily just tumble back, the old tumbleweed saying of feeling really, crap about yourself. And it's quite hard to get out of sometimes, putting that with number 1, where you've got someone that you can talk to and just say, I'm really having a bad day today. But yeah, so negative feelings. Moving on to number 4, feeling exhaustion for socialising, having to pretend to be happy and bubbly in social situations. Again, that sort of goes with the other ones, but I
just make a point on that one. I think it's an interesting one because we know from Lucy's experience that she would be the life and soul of the party and always go out and pretend to be this bubbly person, but really inside she was clearly feeling a bit lonely and not herself, maybe a bit of self-doubt. But we need to obviously distinguish that there is a difference between severe loneliness and then it just being a feeling once in a while, because if it's just once in a while, it's not a problem. It's when it's persistent that we see that it could potentially be then something that is a bit more serious.
And I think if we look back as well, and we really look back at it and we think like the amount of time she'd spend in her bedroom, that's quite isolating. Like, did she feel alone,
Absolutely.
Those sort of things to pick up on as well.
And you can also, I've got 2,500 friends on Facebook, but really, are they real true friends? Yeah, moving on to number 5.
Get it, because it's going to go again.
So that is feeling invisible, even when you reach out to someone, no one hears you. Yeah, that again, that's something I can relate to. I can relate to quite a lot, really. Being in a crowd and people talking and you standing there thinking, and you put your chip in a little bit, but it's not really. What's the word? Sort of. People don't see you as part of that conversation, and I can quickly flip of a hat, feel pretty bad about myself if I'm trying to converse with people and then it's not getting through to what I want to say, you know. So that covers all of the 5, pretty much. I don't know if you guys want to chip in on any of them.
I think that's it.
No, not really. I think the feeling invisible is not being heard, like trying to reach out for help and actually not being heard, or not listening, I think makes you feel really invisible. And it's like, well, why would I reach out for help if no one's listening?
Yeah, right.
That's the key one.
Anyway, there's a positive to all this, isn't there, at the end?
Yeah, there is a positive, yes.
So when can you feel alone? So number 1 is after a loss of a loved one. I think that this is a really hard one, and there's so much grief in the mix of this, and a bereavement has so many different stages to it. And I think this is one of the things that I could probably relate to, that after Lucy, when she passed, I felt so alone. Even though I had my families and my friends all around me, I felt like I was the only one going through it. And that can lead to loneliness, that can lead to isolation, and, you know, just feeling that pain, the sense of pain. Number 2, isolation during COVID-19. We know that the restrictions that are in place, we can't see our family and friends, and it's just an awful time at the moment. But it's quite reassuring to know that it is going to change. So it's good to put things in place, maybe just to keep yourself busy for the next sort of, what have we got, 2 weeks left? But yes, isolation during COVID can sort of make you feel very lonely. Does anyone else want to elaborate on that one?
No.
Brilliant.
Yeah, I think you covered it. I think we all know pretty much the COVID-19 traits that's out there. So yeah,
exactly. And we have covered sort of how to help yourself in COVID. I think in week 1, so you can have a little look back at that. Number 3, a divorce or a breakup. We know that these are really heightened times. I think it's really key that we identify how we're feeling. And obviously, if it prolongs, then we need to think about how we're going to get ourselves out of this. But really to speak up and talk to someone about it, about how you're feeling. Becky, I know, did you want to pick up on this at all about your friend?
Well, are we on number 3? Yeah, so I was going to just say that it's, for some people, going through a divorce and a breakup for some of us, it's quite an embarrassing time. I mean, it's not something that you really want to discuss with your friends sometimes. So yeah, it is. Sometimes we feel lonely because we just feel like we just want to be quiet about the situation and not actually express how we're actually feeling. So quite a lot of us go within ourselves and try and deal with everything ourselves. That's a good point to make.
Yeah, it's a good point. And so number 4, we've got chronic illness. I know with myself, I have a silent illness of a thyroid problem. And for me, I don't want to moan about it. I kind of just put a brave face and I get on with it. But actually, I really struggle. And I think it's a very isolating sort of, when you have an illness, it's quite isolating. I know, Dad, you struggled with your knee and feeling a little bit isolated that way as well.
Yeah, chronic pain can be an awful way to be. So I can relate to that a lot, you know, because you can explain how much pain you've got, but you can't. No one really knows how much pain you're in.
Yeah.
So yeah, I can relate to that.
Yeah, exactly. And obviously not being able to go out as well. If you're in a lot of pain, you can't go out.
Yeah, there's that. Yeah.
Friends, you know, you're just sort of isolated quite a lot and just not feeling yourselves. So then we've got bullying. So we've got cyberbullying. I know that at the moment it's a big thing, bullying. We know that the statistics came out today about self-harm and how much that's related to bullying. I think it's just a lonely time for the teens that would be bullied. There's like WhatsApp groups. There's so many different things now that associate around bullying. Just feeling alone and ganged up.
Yeah, I was going to say trolling is huge at the moment as well, online trolling, and how that can make somebody feel really lonely and self-esteem and self-doubt.
Yeah.
There's I saw an article today on bullying. It's quite big in the government that someone's been found to be bullying. Whether that's true or not, I don't know. But they were picking up on it, and they were saying that 9 times out of 10, in fact 10 out of 10, bullies were bullied when they were younger, and it all stems from their upbringing in some way. So yeah, it's really big at the moment. Yeah.
Thanks, Dad. And then we've got number 6, moving to a new area, about how isolating that is. And I know, Becky, you can relate to that.
Yeah, no, most definitely. 2 years ago, I moved out of the area from being around my family, and I remember the first couple of months just feeling totally lonely, isolated, didn't have any friends or family close by, so you can imagine it was pretty lonely to begin with, but obviously having the support of my friends and family back home, you just have to try and find ways to manage that.
Yeah, definitely. And it's that connection as well, keeping in contact. Like we said at the beginning, it's sort of like the FaceTimes and stuff, like just making sure you're talking on a regular basis. Number 7, mental health issues. Again, this is a bit like chronic illness. It's that silent sort of illness. I know that people already that have anxiety are probably heightened even more now with the lockdown. And also maybe scared to go out. So that could be quite isolating, making you stay like lonely, you're staying in more. I think this one's really key to make sure that you connect with like there's like social media groups and communities that you can join up with like-minded people, but also you can speak to your friends and family if you can, or seek professional help on this one. Losing your job and financial difficulties. We know that statistics today said that 17 to 25-year-olds there's been a rise in increase of them losing their jobs. So that must be really hard on them with no hope, the universities and things, which we're going to talk to Obed about. But yeah, or even like financial difficulties because you've lost your job, not wanting to maybe speak to your wife about it and just feeling really alone and struggling, and just keeping sort of quiet. So we would just say sort of speak up about that and try and speak, and just there's so much support out there for you. And then we've got the particular groups that may be affected by loneliness. So we've got the homeless people, the addicts, the elderly people, young people, and the list is, I'm sure there's loads of other people in there as well. So we're going to now talk about tips of how to manage loneliness. Over to you, Becky.
So moving on from that, I know the signs and symptoms can be a little bit hard hitting, but hopefully you'll be able to find, if you are finding that you've got maybe 2 or 3 of the threads that we've just said, then hopefully these are some tips that you can use to help with your loneliness, or even if you're just feeling a little bit lonely. So the first one we would say is just take it slow. Don't rush into going out. I know lots of us, I know for myself, being at home now, and then once lockdown's done, there's no way that I'm just going to be rushing out to go to a nightclub straight away. It's going to take me a while to ease back into that type of lifestyle, because we have been in isolation. It's very daunting. Number 2, staying connected. It's really important to at least talk to somebody on a daily basis, just keeping that conversation going, because we know what it's like when we lose contact with people. After like 2 or 3 weeks, we start thinking to ourselves, I can't be bothered to message them now. You just got to keep in that habit of just being really connected and just continuing to talk to people online or via Skype even. Number 3, visiting your GP. Now, we mentioned earlier, short periods of loneliness is we wouldn't see as chronic loneliness. That's just a phase, and it will go. But if it's a long period of time, then we would then say to go and get yourself checked out at the GP, because it could then turn into a mental health issue. Number 4, perhaps you could volunteer your services, maybe joining a community project that you might have been interested in. If you've got a lot of time in your hands, helping out with a charity that might be close to your heart, making new connections with new people, joining an online forum or groups for discussion, potentially learning a new skill. I know a lot of us have lots of time on our hands. I know my cousin started knitting, just little things like that, just to keep us motivated and keeping us busy, so we're not overthinking and having like these type of thoughts. Talking therapy, this is a really good way. If, say for instance, you may not have that special person that you talk to on a regular, or you don't have relatives that you can lean on, then talking therapies are a really good way of exploring and understanding your feelings about loneliness, and just having a positive outlook on your situation, really. And then the last one, number 6, looking after yourself. This is the be all and end all. If you have a good diet, if you have adequate amount of sleep, and you have good amount of exercise a day, then they say that this is the key to having a good, healthy well-being within yourself. So those are the 3 most important factors in order to have a good and healthy lifestyle. So those are the 6 tips. I don't know if Emma or Dad want to chip in on any of those. If you haven't, I don't know if you guys have any yourself, any tips that you can give, or what you do to manage your loneliness. I know mine is definitely drawing. I love to do mindfulness drawing, and that kind of takes me away from those thoughts of feeling lonely. That's just one thing that I like to do, and staying connected.
I think. Sorry, Em, was you going to say something?
No, it's fine. Yeah, nice.
I was just thinking that one thing that we do when we have our men's group is everybody has a little check-in. Everybody has like a little couple of minutes just to say how you are. Some are longer than shorter than others, but and it's a great way of just saying to yourself, you know, this is where I am at this moment in time, and I think it's important just to try and do that every day, just to yourself. You know, you don't have to be speaking to someone. Great if you have, but if you haven't and you're just by yourself, just mentally say to yourself how you're feeling. Just check in on yourself. How's your health? What have you eaten today? What are you going to eat today? Just think about stuff outside of the box that are not just your norm. Netflix, do this, do that, do this. You know, just try and say to yourself, how am I feeling today? And I think that's really important. Some really good tips there, Beck. Well done, mate.
Yeah, I definitely think they're really important. Well done, guys. So next, we're going to invite Obed. He's a student at the moment. So we thought we'd just have a little Q&A with him and just ask him a few questions, really. Obed, are you there? So I'm meeting.
Hello.
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 How are you guys?
Yeah, good.
Good.
I have a few questions for you this afternoon in regards to university and how you're coping, really, in terms of the pandemic, because I know we're hearing a lot about universities and how they've had to lock you guys down.
Yeah, I feel like with the first lockdown, it was much harder just because of like my environment. There was probably about 14 of us in the house. So
Wow.
of course, everything is closed. So like the libraries are closed, and there's no way I can actually do work. So the only place I could do it was in my room. But I found it was very hard. It was hard to concentrate because number one, the house is so loud, and number two, I don't have access to all the resources I needed. And I feel like it played a massive part of my mental health, definitely, because I was seeing, as beats went on, I was getting agitated very quickly. Like I was shouting at people. I got into like a lot of arguments with like family members and stuff.
Okay. And at any point, did you ever feel lonely, even though you live with so many people in your household, but did you ever feel like you were by yourself and alone and that you were the only one going through this?
Yeah, no, definitely, because it would be times when I would plan to do work and then I would just sleep for the whole day, and I wouldn't really do anything for the whole day. I would normally, because of football as well, we had like scheduled training sessions, so we had to do like home workouts, and I would just miss the home workouts. I wouldn't really join the Zoom calls or anything.
Yeah.
Is there, Obed, is there much support from the university during this time? Like, have they offered any like counselling or?
The beginning of the year, they did offer counselling for all students that are going through something. There's always like a hotline that you can call or people that you could email that work within the university.
That's good to know. Yeah. And this is a question for you. How do you connect with your friends, like during lockdown?
We mostly connected on like FaceTime video call, which was really good. We always I feel like that's what kind of got me through the lockdown as well. And also like FaceTiming my girlfriend, because the first thing everybody would do when we wake up, we would just all jump into like a FaceTime call and be like, what's everybody doing? People be like, we're doing work. People are saying they're going to play PlayStation, and then other people are saying they're going to go exercise quickly, which was really good.
That's good. And obviously there's no Freshers Week or anything like that this year. What's the vibe within the sort of camp? How's everyone feeling?
How's everyone coping with not being able to go out and socialise? What
the normal uni life?
What's your outlet? What do you do?
Luckily, I still get to play football, so I'm mostly just exercising, and I still have games as well, which is really good. But can't really go out or anything, so it's really boring. It's really boring. There's not anything we can kind of do to kind of like let loose. For example, it'd be like a good night out or anything.
Yeah, exactly. Everyone loves the sort of Freshers Week, don't they? Where they can just go and bond with their new friends and like, you know, it's the game. And what about you? If you had like a job at all, do you know any of your friends that have had jobs that have had to be let go?
Yeah, so my friend worked in Castle and Warehouse in Central, and because he had not worked for the company for more than a year, they let him go. And my other friends were working through the lockdown.
And how have they managed to cope? How have they coped with it?
He's been struggling a lot because at this moment it's really hard to find a job because the demands are crazy, because people are like lowering their expectations and just finding any job they possibly can just to pay the bills.
Yeah.
That's it. Okay.
Well,
Dad, do you have any questions?
Say again, sorry.
Do you have any questions for Obed?
No, I was gonna just say about the Skyping. I don't think, because it is for some people and it isn't for others, and it's I'm not so sure it's like an age thing, because I know quite a 20-year-old people that just don't want to Skype. They're just, or Zoom. They just don't really feel that connection with it. And I mean, Obed said that it's sort of got him through, and it's quite interesting how it is for some, but it isn't for others. I don't know, and I just when we started with this lockdown, and I always just thought it was an age thing. I thought it was, that people like me, the old gits, ain't going to get it, and it's not really for them. But I'm not sure it is an age thing. I think it's broader than that.
I think it's one of those like Marmite, isn't it? You either like it or you hate it, and I think people it may not be for them.
I guess the positive is that the world was turning into just having texts and just seeing, how are you? I'm okay. All right, bye. But now we can actually really see each other and really chat. So I guess it's
really true. I'm quite lucky personally, because I have like a really good support system around me in terms of like my friends and my girlfriend also. So they are always there for me if I want to speak to them or if I need to speak to them. Because me and my friends,
that's so important.
Yeah, because me and my friends, we've always been the type of friends that, like, if someone's feeling upset or not themselves, they'd always just FaceTime, or if anything, they would just pull up outside my house or anything in the car, and we literally just sit in the car for hours, like talking.
I love that.
I think
that's brilliant.
summarize, I think that's the main thing, is stay connected, isn't it? And reach out to as many people as you can to keep yourself sane during this lockdown period, I guess.
No, it's true.
Okay, so to summarize, thank you so much, Obed, for joining us today.
Right.
A real good insight.
Cheers, mate.
Enjoy your weekend. That being said, that is the end of our lockdown, our third check-in today. And next week we're going to be looking at thoughts. So how we run wild with our thoughts, and how we can kind of put our thoughts turn them into good thoughts. So yeah, thank you so much for tuning in today, and hopefully we will see you next week.
We have got a Facebook page with a chat to carry on the conversation. It's the Lucy Rayner Foundation Friday check-in. So feel free to join. It's a positivity page. We're all chatting about how we're feeling. So yeah, feel free to join it, and we will see you next week.
Stay safe, guys.
Bye.
Bye. Bye. Bye. Bye.